There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I am your host, Nick Jacob, as always. I am here with my co-host. Jacob's like, I don't know what to do. But no, we're here once again to talk to the Twilight Zone, Rod Serling's famous, very inventive series of things and places and Uranus cups and stuff like that. So it's a good time, very important series that he created. As always, if you want to reach us out and listen to us in your audio ears and stuff like that, you can reach us at Anchor and MovieCast and iTunes and Amazon Music and Google Play and Audition and whatever they have over in England, that type of thing. So we're here to talk a much better episode than last week's episode. I think we can definitely 100% agree to that one. Seeing how the last episode was our worst episode of the series so far. Jacob, Triv,
I hope so.
Jacob, Triv, how the hell are you guys doing? What's going on? How's life?
I just made it back from the Forbidden Zone, and boy, are my arms tired.
Yeah, that was a weird zone.
I spent late last night with a glory hole, so something's tired.
I listened to someone talk
glorious.
about that. I listened to someone talk about that movie on a podcast. I'm like, oh man, I should have watched that movie with Jacob. Oh my god, instead of watching a certain other movie I can't mention right now, but actually I probably could, because this won't come out till Monday. But
is it the one you were talking about in your DMs?
Maybe I
Is
can't
it
remember anymore. It's an Idris Elba thing. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not.
Doing
Yeah,
things.
okay.
Oh yeah,
He's
he's doing things with lions. I can't really. Yeah.
I mean, you could talk about the creature, the giant creature that the thesaurus would have another word for, in addition to your glory hole. I mean, you could deal with a beast of a thing. But
so anyways, with that said,
this could go a lot of places.
Yes.
But with that said, exactly. But with that said, we also have a new guest host on the show, somebody who we wanted to bring on for at least one episode, even though they're not like real familiar with the Twilight Zone. But I felt talking about this episode seemed perfect, especially with the content he puts on his channel. And that person, of course, is TYTD Reviews, which of course is Dan from this channel. How you doing, Dan? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension.
Hey, thank you for inviting me to the Fifth Dimension. It smells of cinnamon and nappies. I don't know why the nappies. That's a very strong scent.
That's me. That's me. Sorry.
Mystery
I'm
solved.
with all the kids.
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing okay today. Sort of battling a little bit of food poisoning, surprisingly, but I'm pulling through. If you hear any screams of pain and the mic sort of slump over and sort of panicked footsteps, that's me. But yeah, other than that, I'm tickety boo.
Excellent. And your co-host was on one of our videos just recently, which is of course Ben, right?
Oh yeah, that bastard. Yeah, he's great. He's lovely. Yes.
Yeah.
I believe he introduced you to the world of painting with the penis.
Yes, Picasso.
Jacob is going to pick that up as a side thing here soon. So
I'm going to.
His OnlyFans.
It's already done.
Yeah,
I hope that guy comes. I don't know if he does tours, but man, I was trying to look and see if he does. I really want to go see him and get a painting made, a Picasso made.
People were like, I don't remember that being in one of your videos. When was that? What was that in your video?
That was cut.
When we watched, that guy may have been cut. No, anyways, Dan.
But was Picasso cut?
Oh my god! Shut
up. These questions and more answered this week.
Right. Dan, tell us a little bit about what, your channel and what you do.
So my channel is TYTD Reviews, and we cover all things cult, strange, and we focus particularly on awful cinema. And the kind of thing that I do is I take these bad films that have often been neglected and kind of just shoved to one side and told they're a piece of shit and there's just no redeemable qualities to them. And I actually sort of take them apart with an emphasis kind of on figuring figuring out what makes them bad, but more importantly, what isn't so bad about them. The aim of it is to kind of reappraise them almost, to kind of show that even the worst films have some redeemable qualities. But yeah, we cover all sorts of strange stuff. We're on a little bit of a break actually at the minute, but we should be back in a couple of weeks. We've got a summer special that's just come out for the Video Nasty Don't Go in the House, which we managed to get the lovely Mike from Rotted Reviews on. He was a lovely guy who really helped us out. But yes, we sort of look at very strange films, things like Things and The Jar and Bog and all that good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, speaking of strange things, you definitely came on the right movie or right episode. So
oh yes.
yes. And yeah, like we had been after Ben came on, we were talking I was talking to Triv and I was talking to Ben and Jacob about this. I was like, we follow you, through you and Triv's videos where you do a lot of the game show stuff with the what is that what the dub stuff like that. And I was thinking like, what would be an episode that even if Dan isn't a huge Twilight Zone fan or has never really watched the Twilight Zone, what would be a good episode to talk about? And I was thinking about Most Unusual Camera because it's a wacky ass episode with weird, crazy things going on, which is Twilight Zone, but this is more of a comedic episode than like most Twilight Zone episodes, which is kind of nice. But going in, let me ask you this, Dan, to start out, going into this episode or just Twilight Zone in general, having never really seen an episode before, what were you expecting? Were you expecting this or were you expecting something different? You guys watched some things before, but not like to the extent we have. Like, what was your overall feeling going into it?
So yeah, I mean, my experience with the show before this episode was that I'd always kind of been a ships in the night situation where every time it had kind of come about, it just wasn't the right place or time. I wasn't able to catch it. One of the things I always watched growing up was Batman 66. I used to love that show. And they used to play the Twilight Zone afterwards, but I was always kind of just too busy to catch it. I knew about the sort of parodies and the things like that had been on things like The Simpsons and Futurama and all that kind of good stuff, but I'd never actually, apart from, I think the only thing I'd seen was the odd stray clip of the William Shatner episode with the gremlin on the wing of the plane. Outside of that, I hadn't seen anything. So I was completely fresh-eyed, and I was kind of expecting going in a bit more of a, I don't want to say gritty, but a darker tone to it, a much more abstract. When you look at the sort of the opening title sequences and you see all these things kind of flying past, the immediate thought is that you're going in something a bit more surreal. And this episode is certainly quite absurd and surreal in places, but it wasn't quite as dark as I was expecting it to be. But it was still really good fun.
Yeah, definitely. And as I always ask you to, I know Triv, you've seen this episode many a times and you really like this episode, as you said. Yes. Jacob, was this once again, I know you probably don't remember much of this episode, but do you remember seeing this episode at all?
Yeah, once the episode started, I was like, I vaguely remember this. I don't remember exactly how it went down, but I remember basically what happened in the end. I remember the thing that happened. and we're going to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's I haven't even introduced the actual episode. The actual episode is season 2, episode 10, which is called a most unusual camera. Like I said, there hasn't been too many episodes in the Twilight Zone as of yet that have been like real comedic. There's been a couple that have been, had comedic moments, but I think this is the most outright jokey episode that has a message about other kind of darker things, but it's directed by John Rich, who actually worked, as Triv said, on All in the Family, written by Rod Serling, production code 1733606, original air date December 16th, 1960. So the episode before the Christmas episode, which is we'll talk about that next week. But yeah, it's an episode that is definitely I don't know how you feel, Jacob, because I know you're the biggest proponent on like how bad last week's episode was, which we now finally agree on that. But this episode is definitely improvement. I don't know if it'll be like top 20 or whatever, but I definitely think it's an episode that has its charm. Yeah.
It has to go above.
We've had some stinkers, as they say, recently, but
this one has to be above For a Chance to Dream, though, right?
Refreshing, yeah.
Oh man,
we'll get there, Trev. We'll get there, okay? Dan, have you seen For Chance to Dream?
I have not. Like I say, this is my first and only Twilight Zone video. Although Triv has very graciously offered to show me some more later down the line, so maybe expand my knowledge.
When she offers to show you that one, say no. I'm good.
No, just because like you are anti-cat person.
So it's like watching
cat people in that one.
Yes.
I'm game.
Don't-
Sign me up.
They're lying to you. They're lying.
So
You
it's like
described it yourself as a
think
damn
that-
cat person.
That's
so it's like Rorschach and Watchmen. He looked up in the sky and said no.
Yep, basically.
yeah. I hate that. episode. Anyway,
Mm.
I don't really to put it in perspective, Dan. I don't like that episode, but I hate it all the more. I started this show. What
2
episode
weeks
was it,
after.
like
It was
8?
like you started. No,
You
you
started
started episode
11.
11.
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks after that episode.
Okay, yeah, it was right after that episode. They had ranked it. Unfortunately, this is why they needed me here. And I usually say that it was probably the downfall of the show, but in that instance, I would have elevated it immensely because that episode is way up, and that's what I hated even more for that. Because I've had to sit here for the past year and look at this piece of shit episode being that high.
Oh, suck it up, cupcake.
And it throws me off every time I'm trying to rank something else. It's like, where should this one go? I was like, well, I would put it here, but Perchance to Dream is up there, and I think it's better than that one.
Oh, man.
I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of negativity about it, but the cat people idea is still winning me back. I'm just, I need to see. I was enthralled by the Isle of Dr. Moreau, so this could possibly be the winner for me.
Oh, man.
They're leading you down a road.
You're talking to someone in my camp, someone that appreciates, spectacle.
I do too, but that episode was just boring and
I'm
stupid.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I like shit movies. I got you guys to watch the Ice Pirates and
I
nothing but trouble.
watched that before you did.
Yeah, but I asked you to come watch it
reviews
again.
Yes, I'm the one that brought up doing it though. I was like, hey, what about
I
Ice
don't think
Pirates?
you actually got me to watch that, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
I feel like I should be on the
Asshole.
sidelines here, just going knife fight, knife fight.
Better.
I'm gonna bet some
Make it
quadloops
stop.
on people.
Make it stop.
I have a
actually,
review of Ouija Shark on my channel.
I'm proud of you, man. Proud of you.
So anyways, okay, this episode opens up with two characters. Actually, this also stars Fred Clark, Gene Carson, Adam Williams. It opens up with Chester and Paula. They're in a room, as these episodes usually do. They're in a room, just one's reading the newspaper. They're talking about their thievery and stuff like that. And Chester's like the woman of this episode. He's just a nonstop nag, which is kind of nice to have like the opposite happening in this, because usually it's the woman that's nagging and outside, and she seems to be like much more. She's not like the smartest character in the world, but she's much more like contained outside of her palpitations.
That's hilarious.
But like everything's fake. All the Picasso, I think it was Picasso or whatever, they're all fake. All the stuff they get is fake, and because they hit up a whatever type of store, and
like a curio shop.
Yeah, curio shop. And I just think it's fun. The whole segment is like really funny to think about. But Jacob, this is where Rod Serling starts to talk in front of a window while we stare at the two individuals.
Yeah, man, and he talked a lot. Jesus. And Rod sped in real quick. He's been waiting like 5-10 minutes to come in. Today he was like, I'm here. Ooh, I made it, guys. I'm on time. Let's see what Hot Rod
He was
had to
between
say.
cigarette breaks.
There you go.
No, that is a cigarette. He's usually smoking. A hotel suite that, in this instance, serves as a den of crime. The aftermath of a rather minor event to be noted on a police blotter. An insurance claim. Perhaps a 3-inch box on a page 12 of the evening paper. Small addenda to be added to the list of the loot. A camera. A most unimposing addition to this flotsam and jetsam that it came with. Hardly worth mentioning, really, because cameras are cameras. Some expensive, some purchasable at 5 and dime stores. But this camera, this one's unusual because in just a moment, we'll watch it inject itself into the desentines of 3 people. It happens to be a fact that the pictures that it takes can only be developed in the Twilight Zone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Very wordy. When I
Every
copy and
time
pasted that from the website, I was like, oh my God, that took up a lot of lines. Words.
Every time I hear flotsam and jetsam, I think of the damn Little Mermaid eels. So this first act it's pretty straightforward, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but basically they steal a bunch of shit is what they do. I mean, they steal a bunch of crap, and this guy Chester is just real unhappy about it. And then they actually steal a camera. They stole a camera. So whatever, they talk about how you could have like film developed for 39 cents and all this to happen. They decide they're going to take a picture with the camera, and the camera basically has like a 16,000 second delay of taking a picture. The picture reveals, because they take a picture of Paula, and the picture reveals Paula in a fur coat. You're going, okay, so this is a futuristic predicting camera and stuff like that. But then it comes true, because they find a camera, or find the fur coat in the chest, in the chest and stuff like that. And I have to ask you guys, like, as this is happening, and she's like, oh my god, a fur coat. It's like, is she really that smart? Like, what do you guys like as this stuff's happening? Because they also take another picture, and it's Woodward, as we learn later on. But like, what do you guys think? I'll go to you, Dan. Somebody who doesn't really watch the Twilight Zone, comes into this like watching this episode. What do you think about like what was going on with this episode and the characters, and you watching very obscure, crazy looking films and stuff like that? What was your take on this?
So we have an expression in England to describe the characters in this episode, and that is that the wheel is spinning, but the hamster's dead. I like that. These people must have had one brain cell on loan, and unfortunately, it's burnt out. The thing that got me in the opening moments of the episode was when the picture comes out with the fur coat, and she immediately goes, but I don't own a fur coat. And from that point on, just every single time that they were trying to say, no, this fur coat is now yours, I just kept imagining going, but I don't own one. That's the kind of it. Every single line that they spoke should have been ended with just for added emphasis. It was a truly remarkable scene to suspend my disbelief to the point. I don't think these people could operate a camera realistically with the intelligence that they show throughout the opening and the bulk of this episode. Right. They were very smart people.
Good old Americans.
Oh man,
I found it endearing. I will say this: I didn't find it annoying. Like it's so easy within that kind of thing. If you write a character to be purposely a little bit dim-witted, it's so easy to slip into becoming irritating. Where you almost write them to the point where they're obnoxiously stupid. But here it was actually kind of charming. It felt a little bit almost John Waters-y in the sense of these people are just really, really stupid, but also a little bit loud, but not like oppressively so. I enjoyed it. It was a comfortable level of stupid for me. Nice.
That's how I live my life.
Comfortable level of stupid.
You were a comfortable level of stupid for me.
You're good on a t-shirt, really.
Yeah, man.
Let me go to Teespring.
Yeah, exactly.
Add that to my merch shop.
But what about you guys? What do you guys think before Woodward comes in?
So they're describing the camera. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think so. This is like they pulled this camera from a curio shop. It's like an antique camera in the 60s. So I think it dates to probably like the 1920s. There's no place to re-add film, so it has a limited number of photos on it. But they don't know how many at that point. So the fact that they say to this camera, oh, well, it's clearly one of those joke cameras that, already had the picture loaded and it adds your face. You can't do that today with cameras, much less back then. So their ability to like look at this and go, oh yeah, there's a scientific explanation for this weird shit. I love that. It's so like outside the box of like normal rationale, but they're so freaking dumb. It's a weird level of things.
Yeah, they're fucking idiots. And she's like the most unobservant person on earth. She's clearly got this big fucking Yeti on after he takes this picture, and she's just like, oh, look at me by the window. How do you fucking miss that? You're covered in fur. And she's like, it takes her like a few looks at it, and she's like, oh wait, I'm wearing a fur coat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like they open the chest, she's wearing a fur coat. I'm like, you just talked about this like 10 fucking seconds ago. It's like,
and
Jesus Christ.
And then there's that, and then she puts it on.
You can almost
and
hear the dial-up sound in the background.
It's like going across her forehead.
Yeah, buffering wheel.
Yeah. like those people I talk to out in the world, and I feel like they have loading going across their head. Like you say something, they go.
You know what the camera reminds me of? It reminds me of a product that would be in like Needful Things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's like a Polaroid though, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the original Polaroid from 1912.
And it dings.
It does. To let you know, so you don't forget about
Very
it.
satisfying ding.
Oh yeah. I will say too, and obviously we'll talk about this a little later, but like the lexicon phrases off of this movie or off of this episode were so amazing.
But some of them were they were repeats. I noticed there's lots of sexicon words.
Yes,
we've already heard.
Yes.
Yeah. Every time I'd hear one, I'd be like, "Oh, that's good. Oh, I've already got that one." So if you caught one that we didn't already have, let me know and I'll add it. It's been a while.
I'm pretty sure I do. So
I mean, who fingered it? I mean, that's always. I'm always going to catch that one. Arguing, and she's like, "Who fingered it?" And I'm like, "Me, I did."
I will also say one other thing on the wife. Like I think she tries to pull out big phrases to make herself sound smarter, and I kind of love that.
Yeah, and I wonder, is that her real voice, or is she doing that thing? Because back in the day, up until like maybe the 80s, like if you were they female characters that were like attractive, but they were usually criminals, and like the sidekick to the main criminal, and like they always made them sound like bimbos.
Oh, they're kind of doing the Harley Quinn thing, kind of the New York accent. Hey, honey.
She sounded like Ellen
Hey,
Green
sugar,
from
come
Little Shop
on.
of
What are we
Horrors.
gonna do here? Yeah, she sounded like Audrey 1.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Now that you mention it.
More.
But that'll bring us into like the next segment. Like they take another picture and it's Woodward, and if there's ever a character that would epitomize what Dan and Jacob were saying earlier, that's this character. I swear to God, I was watching Gomer Pyle when he enters. He enters. He's like, oh, he's like that. He's like
surprise.
Yeah, he's like Muggsy or whatever that from the Looney Tunes with the big tall guy with the little guy, like gangster guy and something like that. He's just an idiot, and like
they're all fucking idiots.
I was genuinely expecting
he was in
to
good
start
company.
asking about the rabbits at one point, just genuinely.
You can definitely tell that him and his sister fall out of the same tree and hit every dumb branch on the way down.
Yeah, they even hit each other.
Yeah.
There's just like a smoke cloud of just them fighting each other, just oh my God. But that's what, as we joke about it, that's kind of like the charm of this episode is these people are idiots, but it makes the episode entertaining a little bit. It makes it feel like, you don't have to be like, Dan, there was this episode that was Nightmare as a Child, which was, I don't know if I want to get into like the main details, but it was about like childhood trauma and stuff like that. It was like very dark and depressing. So, like last week's episode is about a guy who's like down on himself and he goes back in time and his like wife is nasty to him and shit. And it's just like to have an episode like this is stupid and goofy and is weird. And you guys watch it when you watch like the really cheesy and over the top silly horror films and stuff like that. Sometimes these episodes are good to watch. They may not be the best episodes, but they're fun and enjoyable and stupid. And
this
sometimes
is the deep blue sea of Twilight Zone.
Oh man, shark.
It's not good, but it's so good at the same time.
This is the things of Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the thing. I find that horror and comedy are kind of always intertwined, and there's always this very subtle line that you can dance that really enhance each other. Like, you can have comedy that then makes the horror all the more powerful and vice versa. So I imagine with this run that this would have been quite the palate cleanse after, the previous week's kind of efforts and endeavors. And I think that if they get that balance right, especially with the darker elements of this episode towards the end, it really does pay off in spades. And I think it really did work here.
Yeah, because like I'm just like I wonder if Rod Serling was trying, like I talked about this like either last week or a couple weeks ago, where I was wondering if Rod Serling was making these episodes to be kind of like dumb and stupid in a lot of ways because it was Christmas and they were kind of tired of writing. They've been doing this for like almost 2 years now, and it's like you start seeing these kind of more like offbeat and kind of lighthearted episodes. Like next week is like, I think it's a little darker, but it's Night of the Meek, which we'll talk about. And
the Christmas
this
episode.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's the one with Art Carney, but it's when you think about like that episode and this episode, And when Woodward enters and stuff like that, he's going to watch the racing, and he's going to watch like horse racing and stuff like that. And they're talking about the best part is like, oh, we're gonna give this and like give it to the world and give it to science. Oh, look, there's some horses racing. Maybe we can make some money off that. It's like, that type of
Dialogue
thing.
gets louder.
I
exactly.
like that part because that's one thing with the Twilight Zone and really a lot of media of the day back then is you didn't really have characters like this. I mean, it's a jovial episode and they're all goddamn idiots, but you didn't have characters really like say things like that, kind of like limit that kind of thing and say, oh, we could do this or how about we do that. So I was like, oh, look, they're showing a little bit of depth. I mean, yeah, they twitch, they as soon as they see something like, oh, money, shiny, let me go do this. I mean, they give it up, but I kind of liked how they threw that out there and it showed that it made the characters, they're not good people. Obviously, they're criminals. It made them likable. I never disliked these characters. I thought they were idiots. And I was like, I couldn't spend a day with you guys, but I never disliked them. They were lovable. Yeah, they were like lovable criminals, I
they
didn't
were
feel like
the
they were
wet bandits, kind of.
Yeah.
Roguish.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's a whole running joke about her heart palpitating. He's like, "That's fake palpitating," and stuff like that. And that made me laugh. Yeah,
fake palpitating.
It's so good.
I would also like to add, and this is random, but did you guys notice the anal bead lamp in the background?
No, I didn't. That's funny.
there's a lamp that looks like a series of very, very large anal beads.
How did I miss this?
I don't know. I'm actually surprised you did. Maybe that's just
I
where
remember
my head is.
Because Triv screened this for me. She actually paused the video at that point and went, "Look, anal bead lamp, anal bead lamp." And then I heard like little scampering feet as she sort of ran back and forth, giggling, and then she sat back down again.
But I don't have legs. How can I run back and forth?
You float.
Now you see, we never did find out what happened to those legs. I assume they're in the Twilight Zone.
Probably.
He has legs. I've seen the legs.
Ooh. Actually, yeah, I do have legs, but I only bring them out on special occasions.
Yes, they've made one.
So you're saying we have to wait for anticipation?
Yes, you do.
Legation.
I didn't even have legs during the Forbidden Zone episode where I got digested by the damn building, so they only come out on special occasions.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they're just like the stuff that comes out of what's his face, Chester's mouth is like just talking about black magic and the kooky pictures and jail after a year, and it's funny to listen to him talk because it almost feels like Rod Serling was like high or something like that. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna leave the lexicon words alone. I'm gonna leave the thesaurus alone, and I'm just gonna say things put things in his mouth that are stupid and goofy.
Well, he's stupid, so it makes sense.
I mean, Chester is the smartest of the three of them, but that's kind of like saying I don't know. I don't have a good.
So he's King Turd on Shit Mountain.
Basically, thank you.
He's Mo. He's the Mo of the group.
He is very much Mo of the group. That's a good way to put it.
It's a much nicer way to put it.
But they show Woodward the picture of him entering the room, and they decide they're going to go and make some money, which is, we'd all do that until we find out we're going to be falling out windows, not 2 feet windows this time, but actual windows. And
oh,
hey, we never actually see them land, so it might be a 2-foot window.
Very true.
Wouldn't surprise me if it was ground floor and they just fell out and then they were just on the pavement going, "Ah!" writhing around on the pavement.
I'm still falling. When will I hit the ground?
It's like it's like North by Northwest or Vertigo or something. It's just nonstop falling for like 3 hours and stuff like that. Hey, you want to play 21 questions?
This bottomless hole is bottomless.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
Are you a plant?
Whoa, this hole's like really deep, dude.
Oh, man. Hey, devil dude. So that's the act break. This is before they go to the track. What do you guys think overall? I mean, it's stupid, it's silly, it's over the top and goofy, and it feels like a December episode for a TV series. But what do you guys think? Dan, I'll start with you.
I thought it was jolly good fun. I'll be completely honest with you. I thought it was silly, daft, just good time. like everybody sort of said here, and to reiterate, it's the right side of stupid. It's not irritating. It's just pleasant just to see these, not necessarily, they're bad people, but they're not necessarily bad people, just kind of idiot themselves through 15 minutes. I mean, I quite happily watch 2 hours of them just like trying to figure out how a toaster works, to be honest. But but yeah, no, I really enjoyed the opening half up to the ad break. Was fantastic. It was just really gentle but pleasant television.
Right. What about you guys?
I love this episode. It's the way that I fall, and we all have those episodes that we love, and I love weird, just random ass Twilight Zone. It is, in its most pure form, like it shows that like God's got that really random ass sense of humor, and that's kind of reflected in episodes like this, and I love it. So
I was having a good time with it. I was liking it a whole lot more than I did the past 2 weeks.
That's not saying much. Again, that's like King Turd of Shit Mountain.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I was on board with it up to that point. I mean, it was not breaking the mold by any means. It was not, like, holy shit, this is like such a prolific episode that has so much to say and is gonna like get my gears turning. No, it was just a bunch of fucking idiots trying to figure out how the Polaroid works. And had a good. I mean, I was enjoying it. It was a nice palate cleanser from the past few weeks. And if prior to this one we had watched something that was like top 10 or something like that, like if we were on like a roll of like having a bunch of good episodes and then I watched this one, I don't know, maybe my opinion would be a little bit lower, but I was enjoying it. I was having a good time with it. It was how did Dan put it? Pleasantly gentle. Yes.
Comfortably stupid.
Comfortably. No, I like the pleasantly gentle. I'm going to tell my wife that. Hey, baby.
Pleasantly gentle television at its finest.
So if this had been The Invaders, your opinion would have been slightly different.
Yeah, he's just waiting. See, Dan, he's waiting 5 more weeks to just supplant and like subvert the whole entire series, because that's when his like supposed favorite episode comes on.
It was my favorite 20 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I think it still is. My memories of it are great.
I mean, we kind of subverted everything with Eye of the Beholder, I think, too, there, Nick, if I'm not being too over the top with it.
So anyways, Act 2.
Ooh, that butt is still hurt.
Yes, I can see it from here. It's still steaming. It's a steaming pile of Uranus.
Well,
Damn.
So Act 2, I think this is where this episode really shines, in the sense of just how kooky and weird and strange this gets. They basically go to the racetrack, the horse track, the thing that people have outlawed today. And before they actually go, Woodward of course watches the TV. They get their light bulb. What's that? A lot of I guess it's dog racing, not
dog
horse
racing.
Yeah, I'm getting
is that outlawed too?
Mixed up.
Yeah,
kind of.
One of the last dog race tracks was like semi-local to where I'm at, so it was like one of 2 left in the country, and that was like 6 months ago.
Really? I did not know that. I mean, not that I like frequented horse or dog racing tracks, but I didn't realize I'm behind on the times. Oh well.
But
now I want to go because I can't.
Like, you want to watch Batgirl?
Yeah, exactly. I want to do things that I can't.
This is where the famous leak in the attic gets brought up again. As Jacob mentioned earlier, there was things that have been brought up before. Leak in the attic was one of the most popular of our lexicon words, I guess you could say.
It isn't shoulders of pudding, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. Dan, we come up with we find such great words from 1960s. It's good times.
Yeah, they'll just suck you in the puss. I read them all.
Watch you in the what?
They'll suck you in the puss.
Oh, good lord. It's midweek. I need to get to work later.
Well, when not in use, turn off the juice.
But I just like leading up to the horse track racing stuff. Like, they talk about, we're gonna give this to the world, we're gonna give this to science, and they're like, oh, horse track racing, and then they bring the camera to the horse track race, the racing track and stuff like that. And it's funny to think about 1960 because if they brought cameras like this now and somehow are winning all this money, you'd have like security around you and police like questioning like if you're cheating and stuff like that. And it never is. That's what kind of makes this episode great is they take the camera, they take a picture of the scoreboard or the board or whatever, gives them the actual winning horse, and of course they start winning lots of money. But I'm like thinking, I'm like at some point they're gonna get caught or they're gonna get looked upon like very weirdly by the police, but that never happens in this. And what do you guys think about that, like with the whole idea of just how stupid and insane it really is? They're like winning all this money, they have a camera with them. They're like, you would think that'd be a little suspicious.
See, I like to think that the universe that the Twilight Zone has brought us to this week is the stupid universe where collectively everyone has an average IQ of 3. So like even the people who are like doing the money just don't know how much money they're giving. It's just they turn up and go, I've won lots. And they just sort of throw as much money as they can give to them out through the doors and they sort of clear off. But yeah, that's the only explanation I have. They should really be in a prison cell after like the 3rd win, or at least in the back room being hit with baseball bats. But like it didn't happen. So I'm just assuming everybody's thick.
I mean, of everyone that has speaking lines in this movie or in this episode, why do I keep calling it a movie? Anyway, they are all relatively stupid. And I love like how they like look through the camera and Woodward is like the second thing comes out and it's got this stuff on it. And he's like, whoa, there are numbers on that. That's crazy.
What a number.
The nitwit zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, the money they're winning is like insane. Like even for 1960, even today it's a lot of money, but 1960, can you imagine when $9,500 and then like I imagine they won a few $100,000 in this kind of the scheme that they've come up with, and
they got like bricks of cash.
Yeah.
They're
walking around with just like, hey, look at what I got. Holy fuck, just leave now.
I know, right? Well, the best part is when they take all the money back to the hotel room. Of course, we have that waiter, which I think is probably one of the best endings to an episode. Just that waiter alone, and they just have all this money sitting around. Like you would think that, I guess, as Dan puts this, is the idiot version of the Twilight Zone. They just had the money just sprawled all over the place. Like, I don't know how you guys felt about that, but I found it funny. I'd be like, I probably would do the same thing that waiter did too, until he found out what was going to happen to him, that type of thing. But
I mean, if I had that much cash, I'd do it so I could lay on it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was. Yeah,
a decent proposal.
I was half expecting the wife to just go up and start like grazing on it, just like a cow chewing cud or something. Just the idea that they understand what money is. I mean, I know that they probably have the positive affirmation of money good, but the idea that they know what the monetary value of a dollar is, I don't believe that for a second. If they don't know how a camera works, I'm guaranteeing you they don't know what money really is. If they just know it's good.
It's like when that guy was on the phone and he was buying with like a car or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was sitting there and the guy like said something, I guess, on the other end of the line, like, where are you backing out? He's like, no, I'm not backing out. No, he was just trying to think what I don't fully understand what all's going on in this conversation.
But yet on the opposite side of that spectrum, they knew that the Picasso was fake. Like they knew that all of the stuff that they got from the curio place was fake, because as at the beginning of the episode they're going through and it's like, well, we've got fake Picassos and this thing is fake and that's a reproduction, and that thing over there was from 1902 or whatever. It's
because it said it on the back. It was like labeled fake.
I was going to say, you see, that was speculative. So I always assumed that they'd actually found real stuff and just were too stupid to realize it was real. So like, yeah, they are there with 3 original Picassos. And it's like, oh, this is fake.
They did it all wrong. They went to the wrong curio shop. Clearly they didn't go find the Picassos and stuff like that.
Yeah. Those would have been worth.
They would have really made some money.
Is that going to be like a reoccurring thing when we have British guests on? We automatically go to Picasso.
Well, he was Australian.
That is true, but I just meant because it's come up twice.
We're in
now.
America, so same thing.
You bastard.
There's America and not America. You are here.
There's America and everything else.
There's America. Fuck
it ain't American. So you're in England.
It's like America, but not America.
So it's not America. Fuck yeah. It's just
England. fuck yeah.
No one will ever say that. That will never happen.
We'll be like, England, bollocks, yeah, that type of thing.
It'd be more sort of
It's
England.
backwards.
It's all right.
England.
That's the sort of peak.
Yeah.
The peak is kind of an awkward shrug and a kind of sort of lift of the arms slightly, maybe and that'd be it. That'd be, a pigeon explodes in Trafalgar Square. A double-decker bus jumps a chasm. I don't know why there's a chasm. There's no chasms in England.
Ooh, a double-decker. That'd be like Speed, the European version. It's called Speed.
If this bus drops
The
below
double-decker
100
bus.
kilometers an hour, hang on, what's that in miles per hour? Oh shit! Right, here we go. Get the calculator.
How'd that boat or how'd that bus jump over Buckingham Palace? Like there was no ramps or anything.
It's got the Mary Poppins thing going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, the
Random
waiter.
tangent.
No, that's staying in. There's no tangent about that one. So the waiter.
3.
Exactly.
Euro
Trip, core blimey, governor.
But the waiter comes in, and this is how stupid they are. They didn't realize they didn't read the front of the camera when it says they only have 10 pictures. So they're like, he's like,
It's
oh
in
yeah,
like
you only
French
have
or something though.
It is French.
Is it
This
actually
was
French
the-
or is it?
Yeah,
English
it's
and-
in French. Yeah, and this is the biggest thing that I have about this episode, and it's the only thing that I sort of flagged up and went, hang on a minute, something's up here. So what it says in French on the camera is something along the lines of the user has 10 photos, or it's 10 photos per user, but there's 3 of them. So I have to assume either that they're too stupid to realize they have 30 photos between the 3 of them, or that the camera had enough of their shit after the first 8 photos of their feet and just decided, you know what, these guys all count as one, and then I'm done.
Or the camera
yeah.
is stupid too, and it doesn't even know.
How many photos did it take? 5, 7.
102.
3, 4.
You could also say that, like, between the
And-
3 of them, they have enough brain cells to equal one person.
That's
Mate,
true.
shit.
That's true.
I just think it's amazing. The waiter comes in. He's like actually the smartest person too, because he figured out what he needs to do. But he's like, he reads the front of the camera, and this might be like an idiocracy moment where like the French is really just in English and they just call it French and that type of thing. But he says there's 10 pictures left, or 10 pictures total, and and he leaves. Of course, they give him money. He leaves, and then they're like, how many pictures do we take? And they kind of somehow figure that they take an 8, and then they start arguing over it, and then they like a picture gets taken. Of course, it's Paula just going. She's like, oh, but she was screaming. It's like, I don't see she was screaming. At least it didn't look like in the photo. But then as Dan says, or Jacob said, one of the two said, this is when the West Side Story moment comes in, because one pulls a knife and they just start dancing around and fighting.
The wife starts clicking her fingers. Dun, dun, dun.
And Chet says, what is rattling your cage, ape? That type of thing, it's but before we get to like her ending, they just like fall out the window. They just like
They pulled a fever.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they don't even.
it's great how they fall.
It wasn't even that dramatic. They just kind of like go over to the window. You see it coming too. You're like, they're going out the window, and like
the restraint of the editor not to put a slide whistle in.
they just kind of not even tumble, like kind of float out the window and go, There's no scream. There's no nothing after that.
There's no
they just
music,
kinda-
no dramatic.
And fall out the fucking window.
That's how you know it's a first story window.
Yeah, I guess because before they had a chance to scream, they're like, they just felt it's just like the fever.
And like the fake crying of Paula is like some of the most amazing acting I've ever seen in my entire life, because it's just like she's like,
Let me put this money, wipe my tears away. Damn.
I was just really hoping for an I Love Lucy laugh, like a and then she falls.
That's practically
but-
what happens.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that kind of leads into like the conclusion of this episode, where she's like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be a photographer, and I'm gonna take a picture of dead bodies. And she sticks the camera out the window and she takes a picture of the dead bodies. And she's like, I'm gonna keep this money, and takes a picture, and then she like walks back in, and the waiter comes in with a sack with the dollar sign on it, and just like, I'm gonna take your money and blackmail you, and then
I'm here to do your laundry. Uh-huh.
but she like, I don't know, she gets in a scuffle or something like that, but then she like, there's this like random cord on the ground for I think the bead lamp or whatever,
Yeah,
and she's just like,
anal bead.
it falls out the window.
Yes.
It was a random cord that had the perfect kind of tuft in it that would just match her foot. So it was perfect. And we're getting away from the broader point. Yeah, we're getting away from the broader point here as well, which is, do you think these guys actually understand the concept of death? Because I personally would not put it past them to just think they just fall asleep and don't wake up.
I think they're so dumb that when they fell out this 30-story window and hit the ground, they're so dumb somehow they transcended death. They didn't even die. They're so dumb their body does not know how to die. They just hit the ground and but she fell out the window. I hesitate to call it falling, but when she tripped and went out the window, she just went, and then it's like nothing. It's like the rest of them. She just and like went flying out the window. And everybody's so calm about this situation too.
Oh yeah, well, it was because it was death by jump cut, so nobody saw anything.
That's the best part. Like the waiter picks up the camera. He gets the rest of the money. He looks at the photograph. And he's like, "Sacre bleu," and he falls out the window. And you don't even see him fall. He's just like, "Ah."
Yeah, what happened to him? I get why she fell. I get why they fell. No matter how dumb it is he just
counts
so dumb?
four dead people.
So he just jumped out the window? I mean, what happened? We didn't see what caused him to fall out the window. He just saw and he said, 4 people. Oh!
Well, you see, what actually happened was she was hanging out the window, and like you couldn't film that part because the budget was so tight. She actually grabbed him
and pulled him out.
Yeah, she grabbed him by the scuff of the neck and like pulled him out the window with her, and then he was too heavy, and then she lost her grip and fell.
She was actually on a DeLorean. She was like rising up in a DeLorean.
You have the Metal Gear Solid alerts thing when he's like,
I think the only way the episode could have ended any better is if it had slowly pulled back to reveal the full set, and Rod Serling just kind of creeps in and starts putting the money in the bag, and then it slowly fades to black.
Well, there was an episode where he did like a fourth wall break, and that would have been fantastic if they would have done that with this episode.
No, clearly the best part is explosions.
Or if they gave him like an out. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the best part would be like explosions and Ozzy Man reviews, just narrating the whole thing as they fall.
Maybe the stupid kind of wears off, and as he's doing his outro, he starts getting stupider. So he starts off very eloquent, in the world where money is, and then by the end of it, he's just like, money do good, brain fade good, bye, pudding, and then sort of
I will also add, I love the fact, so she was like, the reason that they were fighting was they were trying to figure out like, do we save, because they have 2 pitchers left, do we save it for a rainy day, do we go back to the track, what do we do with it? And like after the 2 assholes go out the window, she's sitting there with this camera with one more shot left, and as compared to like holding on to it for a rainy day, she like puts it out the window and takes a picture of these bodies.
Yeah, it says some quippish, she's like, get ready for your close-up, Mr. DeVille.
Yeah.
And like runs.
Shit. So that's the end of the episode. Everyone's dead.
As they should be.
Yeah, as they should be.
Because it does still follow that moral thing of, everyone gets their comeuppance at the end.
Are they dead?
I don't think they're smart enough to know that they got a comeuppance. I think that literally the level of intelligence here is they don't realize they've done anything wrong. They're just so dense. They're like a fruitcake, very, very stodgy. Just they are not knowing anything.
The thing nobody wants, but everybody gets.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of the episode. It's as you can tell, it's a very it's not what I call the greatest episode in the world, but it has shiny moments and stuff like that. But Dan, I'll start with you. What did you think of the overall episode now it's concluded and people are dead?
Everybody's dead.
Just Oprah, you're dead, everybody's dead. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good fun. like I say, for a first time out, I was expecting something maybe a little darker. But you know what? Being introduced to the show through a more light-hearted thing, I think works quite well because it gives you a good growing out point, if you know what I mean. Like if, say, for example, I'd been started on the darkest episode or what is widely considered the best episode, where'd you go from there? This was quite a silly but very, very enjoyable episode that I just really gelled with. And it was nice as well to kind of have people who are better established with the Twilight Zone there to kind of help guide me through the context of it. Triv was very supportive in kind of explaining exactly the mechanics of how episodes work and things like that, and added extra context, which kind of really helped. So yeah, I mean, if it's a testimony to how good it is, when the episode finished, Triv was telling me about some other episodes, and while she was doing that, I was simultaneously looking up how much the Blu-ray box set cost, and also looking up. I found that he did a TV movie called what was it? Because the Christmas teaser at the end really sold me on like the show. So he apparently did a TV movie called A Carol for Another Christmas, which is basically, from what I've heard, it's effectively Christmas Threads, which I'm quite sold on that. Nuclear Christmas sounds fun. So yeah,
next week we'll introduce you to Nightmare as a Child.
Hey, fantastic.
Similarly, nice low-key episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, mark me up as a convert. Like I say, I'm just waiting now for the box set to get a little cheaper, and then I'm gonna plow into them and see what I can do.
Nice. How about you guys?
So I looked up because there's not a lot of trivia. There's actually like one piece of trivia on this, and it was relating back to what the camera said, like the verbiage on the camera. And in the Twilight Zone companion, this is like how it describes, like, because it gives you like the plot, and then it gives you just kind of like their little additional information, random trivia, things like that. Directed limply by John Rich, who would later direct and produce All in the Family. A most unusual camera, never really goes anywhere.
Directed limply?
Yes, directed limply.
I also didn't see last week's episode.
Very limp.
I was going to say, I thought it was quite pacey, to be honest. I mean, you know, they do sort of hover around the stupid quite a lot, but you know, it was hardly pedestrian, I'd say. You know, there's certainly enough going on for 25 minutes, you know.
Well, and I think they mean is that it's you don't really have a moral base on this. It's just a funny thing. I think that's kind of what they're more aiming for.
What's wrong with that, man? I don't know.
They want.
I guess everybody's
child every week.
Yeah, everybody's expecting like top 10 episode every week, and then you know there's only 10 of those. But I'm cool with a nice little palate cleansing, fun, goofy episode that maybe isn't like changing the world with all its themes, and just having a good time. I mean, it's nice to just have something you just check your brain at the door and have a good time with. It's not a hard episode to understand. It doesn't have a lot of deep stuff to say. It's got that classic Twilight Zone feel as far as like how it's structured. You know, it offers its odd little, you know, its hook, and then in the end you have your ironic twist of fate. I mean, what else do you need? It's not shitty. It's not sucky. It's not last week's episode. You know, I mean, it was entertaining. I had a good time with it. It doesn't have to be the best episode in the world. I still had a good time with it. I would be willing, if it was on, I wouldn't turn it off. I wouldn't necessarily seek it out again, maybe, but I wouldn't turn it off if it was on the TV.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's an episode that I would never put in my top 10. It's an episode that maybe not even top 20. We'll see where it lands, but it's an episode that I feel is just entertaining. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't give like high concept ideas outside of like do not live in an idiocracy type world. That is apparently this world. I don't know, but it is an episode. Once again, I go back to I think Rod Serling needed a break, or at least needed some, you know, palate cleansing episode, and this is what he picked because the next episode, which we'll talk about next week, is a little bit of a headier episode than this episode. So I felt, you know, you go back and watch your favorite TV series, you watch like, I don't know, Doctor Who or Friends or, you know, anything of that nature, and like the holiday episodes are like, especially during December, they don't lean on like the major themes of what Twilight Zone or those series really go for. They're just more like the friends or the crew just do their thing and have a little bit of fun doing it and stuff like that. And that's just how I feel about, you know, this episode.
The Doctor Who holiday episodes are awesome.
They are.
Well, no, they're awesome, but they like I always feel like the non-holiday episodes are more I don't know. I don't know if Doctor Who's a good. Maybe I'm wrong in that one.
That's okay.
But I
We'll
mean, you
allow
know
it
what I
this
mean.
time.
It's just it
We'll
feels
let you off
nice
the
to
hook
have.
this once.
It just feels
the
nice to
Christmas
have
specials. The
Yeah.
Christmas specials have a bit of a lighter tone to them,
Yeah.
whereas even though they contrast that lightness sometimes with a lot of darkness, you know,
Mhm.
some specials get particularly bleak, but there's always that kind of, we can't, you know, we're not going to do like a nuclear apocalypse Christmas or something. It's always very gentle darkness
I mean,
that's there at the Christmas specials.
Christmas
So they kill
specials
off-
where they introduced David Tennant in Doctor Who, and they actually had the end of the world coming with the Santa Claus people. I can't remember
Yeah.
Spit I've seen it.
Oh,
Well,
the plastic
in-
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, the plastic guys.
In Britain, you know, the end of the world is actually quite light-hearted. You know, we
Yeah.
Monty Python
have a lot.
esque.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you know, it's a gentle apocalypse.
Like over here, we're like, oh my god, it's fucking now get spaceships and all this. Over there, they're like, well, shit.
Yeah, we're just here like end of the world, isn't it? Yes. Crikey.
Crikey.
Oh shit!
Lovely day.
Uppity.
There goes the planet. Spaceballs.
Get your towel.
Oh shit! There goes the planet.
Is it going to rain later? Yes. Oh, shame.
Rain, death, and destruction. Oh, I should probably have my umbrella.
I'll bring a
I
brolly.
mean, you guys did explode the planet, and you know, was it that Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Hitchhiker's
Galaxy? So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so there you go.
Wasn't them,
It's just
that was
another
the
day.
aliens.
It was just a
Oh
Tuesday.
dear.
Yep. Well, that's a typical
We
Tuesday
can't
for you.
blame the Brits for everything over here. You guys did a lot though.
Yeah. Ain't we stinkers? You colonize one country once 300 years ago and you still hear the end of it.
I
Blimey.
mean, technically speaking, you colonized quite a few countries, really.
Details,
Details.
Details.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
That's all in
We're
the
just
past,
gonna-
Triv. You're living in the past.
Yeah, I tend
We're just
to.
gonna start
Why
naming
you gotta
off
bring up old
countries.
shit, Triv?
Because it affected my family. No, I'm kidding.
We're just gonna start like naming off all these countries that affected America, and it's gonna be a slaughter fest, that type of thing. So
The first
Let's
sort
talk
of
about
6
the
or 7,
French,
I'm very
though.
dismissive, and then about 10 later, I'm like, okay, maybe, and then by 20, I'm just quiet.
so with that said, I think we all had a lot of fun with this episode. I think that's where we kind of land. So
Oh,
Without further-
do you want lexicon words quick that I've got?
oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
closing too.
Lexicon
Oh,
us.
Yeah. So I have you're missing a couple buttons.
Mhm, mhm.
Let's see. You said who's rattling your cage, Ape, and then you can't tell a diamond from a baseball, and then
Leaking
Yeah, I
that out of your
guess-
course.
yeah,
We've already
I think
got that
that's
one.
yeah, I think that's they talk about half a shuck, but
At one point in time, I swear she said shit, but I think she said chet or something like that. I don't know. At
I'm
one
not
point, they dropped something. She said shit, and I was like, she didn't say that, but it sure as hell sounded like it.
This is the unrated version of the Twilight Zone episode.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's kind of all I got, but yeah.
Who's rattling your cage, Ape? I'll allow that.
Yay.
All right.
Well, Dan, we also have what were some of the other ones? There was push,
Like the whole
push.
thing?
No,
In
I
the
just
bush. Saki and the Puss, Crumb Bum, Jump to the Moon, Why You Fingering Me, The Dirty End of the Stick, You're Crying, A Room Full of Buckets, Shoulders Like Pudding, The Devil With You, I Was Born Under a Weak Zodiac, Old Lead Bottom, A Lousy Dog-Faced Line Officer, When Not in Use, Turn Off the Juice, She's Got a Leak in Her Attic, Scared Fighting Rabbits, I don't even remember what the hell that was, Chisel Your Way Through a Cheap Trick, I'll Do a Jig for You, Pappy, Like a Puppet, Beat the Difference in Between Right and Wrong with a Wet Rope. That always reminds me of that James Bond movie. But one of the best, Dick to Phone, Legs Like Rubber, much like Shoulders Like Pudding, and interesting as Yesterday's Fish, Push, Push, Push all the way, all the time. Take a Flying Jump Over the Moon, Being a Silly Sophomore at Clod, Discombobulated, 6 weeks in Your Rears, Honest to Pete, and That's the Way It Is, Season 2 has, You Stupid Frog Cowboy, Everything Looks Tilt, Tying One On, Spring Out of the Sand Like Jumping Jacks, You're in Hot for Me for Your Collar Buttons, He's a Gleep, I'm going to slice off a nice bit of cabbage, bear it up, June prune, and now who's rattling your cage, Abe? That is the Sexicon.
Yep. Oh, chicken bum bum.
Spectacular.
Good. It's good stuff.
He's like, what the fuck did I just hear?
All the best words.
I love that kind of, sort of 20s to 40s kind of border gangstery speak. It always makes me just sort of smile. One always gets me is the real Rudy Toot, and that just for some reason that always just makes me laugh. I don't know why. So that was a very amusing sort of 5-ish minutes for me. I was just very quietly going.
He's all like,
yeah, going a little bit Beavis, a little bit butthead. Just,
Oh man.
I will say, Dan, if you ever want to really,
it's a camera. What?
If you really want a good episode, to hear Jacob do the Mr. Beavis open and close as Beavis is just fantastic.
Oh, did I do that?
What I'll be doing after this episode.
I think I did do that.
I'll find the link for you too. So
we need the Mr.
Yeah,
Butthead episode then.
Yeah. I mean, that Dingle is strong.
Vintage.
Dingle.
I did say Dingle. Dingle.
All right. So with that said, close this out, Jacob.
Object known as a camera. Vintage, uncertain. Origin, unknown. But for the greedy, the avaricious, I like that word. The fleet of foot, who can run a 4-minute mile so long as they're chasing a fast buck. It makes believe that it's an ally, but it isn't at all. It's a beckoning. Come on for a quick walk around the block in the Twilight Zone. I should have read that in advance, so I would have come across that word and been like,
no. I never want you to read in advance because it makes it more exciting.
I know, you leave that shit in. I'm like, hey, cut that out. Okay, yeah, I got you. I'll watch the episode. I'm like, oh my God, he left all that in.
At that point, I'm just speed editing.
Out.
At that point, I'm speed editing. I'm just like, I need to get this shit done. Done. Push.
Well, I come off looking as stupid as the people in this episode.
Shush.
You didn't come up with your cups of your anus, so you just got something you didn't have to worry about. So with that said, we'll go ahead and head into our last segment of this podcast, which of course is the Twilight Zone ranking list, the greatest list known to man that no one else will create, because we are the greatest podcast ever created. So with that said, I know Dan, I know you say you're probably gonna stay on the sides for this one, but
all right. So personally, just off the cuff, okay, so Mr. Beavis, this is kind of where my logic is at least starting. Mr. Beavis was kind of a similar kind of episode. It was more lighthearted. It kind of had some of those tones. Obviously not as stupid, but still that same tone. My starting place is like 24. Doesn't have to stay there. I'm just suggesting that as an opening.
Our comedic episodes are like right in that section, like The Chaser and Mr. Beavis.
Well, The Chaser was stupid.
Which one was that? Was that
the one
Love Potion?
Yeah, Love Potion.
That's the one based off your favorite. Yeah.
Yes. That was
like
a great
the Twilight
Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah, the Tales from the Crypt episode was awesome. This was stupid.
I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Well, here, is this better than Elegy?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Is this better in execution?
Yes. Well, exception of
13
Dictaphone.
or 14. 14. 14.
Dan, for reference, 14 is Perchance to Dream.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I would be okay putting it at 14, but I doubted that you guys would probably want to put it that high.
Now you're going to like a nice place to visit and Mirror Image and What You Need, and
I did like it more than Mirror Image. I ain't gonna lie. Mirror Image, I never thought of as high. I didn't think as highly of as you guys did. I didn't hate it, but I enjoyed this more than that. But I mean, I didn't enjoy it more than.
I think World of Difference is better because of that ending. And
World of Difference
had that fourth wall breaking ending, I think.
Oh yeah, that was a good.
That's
ending.
True.
That's a good ending.
Let me
that in itself was a very funny thing.
See,
too.
Dan, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was talking about. Like, it's got these good episodes. I'm like, oh no, it's not better than those, but it's better than Perchance to Dream. It's better than Liz Taylor wannabe.
Oh no, I'm sorry. World of Difference.
Roller coasters.
World of Difference is the guy going.
That's the guy who's in the with his bitch of a wife.
A World of His Own is the that one. So
yeah. Okay, so
see, I like
This
that
Hitchhiker.
episode. But Nice Place to Visit, I think, is the push episode.
I love that we remember these via sexicon words.
Yeah, I don't even remember anything about that episode except for the push thing. Oh, that was the one where the.
Oh no! Nice Place to Visit is the one with the guy who
That's the
lives
one
in
where
his
the
own
guy.
hell.
Yeah.
I feel like I should start making stories up. It sounds about as believable. Oh, what about that one there? They all had fish heads for half an hour.
Probably, I'd be like, oh yeah, that one. I didn't like that one much.
Although it did have that great ending.
Yeah.
One where it keeps raining Reese's Pieces and everybody's diabetic. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and there's other food that it rains and stuff. Wasn't that one animated? It's in color too.
It had a sequel.
Dear, would you please pass me a donut? What's a donut? Ah! Oh, it's raining again.
It's gonna take out my roofing, and I just had it redone.
I did actually like this more than a mirror image. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to go above Chance to Dream, which it should, but I'm not saying that. But I did enjoy this one more than mirror image. And a nice place to
better
visit.
Than Nice Place. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, I actually overall I like the Nice Place to Visit, but I think this one was probably, if I had to sit down, these are my two options. I'd probably watch this one over that. World of Difference is that's not the what did we said that's the one where he's
that's one where he's the actor and inhabits his real life body.
I actually liked it more than that one too. And I enjoyed that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well here's the real question: is this better than Hitchhiker?
That's what I'm looking at now.
Because we might actually put this above Chance to Dream if you like it better than Hitchhiker.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not gonna lie. I like the Hitchhiker, and I mean it's the birthplace of Nan Adams.
That is true. It's sad that she didn't show up in this episode unless she was a jockey.
She
she is what took the French guy out. We never saw. Back quarter of a fucking Buick came.
I explained a little bit about Nan Adams, so just a little bit.
Gave some back.
He took him out off screen. It was an off-screen kill.
Like judo chop.
You heard that scream was actually the car horn.
Yeah. I think I did. I mean, and I Nick, I know you really like the Hitchhiker, and I enjoyed the Hitchhiker. But once again, if you said, "Hey," I swear this is not me just trying to get it above for Chance to Dream.
Bullshit.
We just started over here and started working up. If I'm presented with these two and you say, "Hey, which one do you want to watch right now?" I'd probably pick this one. I just like the kind of jovial, kind of loose feel of it. I would pick this over Hitchhiker. But I know I'm probably...
No, I agree. I'm good with that.
2-1.
But I really like this episode. This is one of those that there are very few episodes where I'm
enjoyable.
I'm not going to mandate, God damn it, this one has to be a certain thing. But this is one of the episodes where I would say, you know what, this one is up there for me.
See, I mean, I'm you're right. I'm a huge Hitchhiker fan, but I like how that story plays out. Like its conclusion. Like this one has a great conclusion, but I think that it has a better conclusion just on the sense of like what happens and
which one would you rather watch?
Which one would you rather watch?
The Hitchhiker, honestly.
Well, then we've just put it below the Hitchhiker. I mean, it's one place.
I mean, would you guys be fine with that, or you guys tell me?
Well, I would have a massive problem with that.
Oh, 3-1 now.
He's putting it at number one, actually.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like the worst version of 12 Angry Men you've ever seen in your life.
What did you guys say? The opposite. I'm not. This isn't like a hill I gotta die on. So I mean, I'm good in that general area right there. Yeah, I like this one more than, or just like sit down and watchability of it. I would pick this one over Hitchhiker, but I like the Hitchhiker too. So it's whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you could ask the anal raccoon trophy behind me.
How did we?
Because anal.
That's what he said.
Yep.
Because anal.
It used to be.
I'll tell you this
easy to,
much:
like,
if you say that we're putting it above Hitchhiker, I am immediately going to say, okay, it needs to go above For Chance to Dream too.
So with that said,
so if you don't want to
new
have that conversation,
so with that said, new number 16 is going to be a most unusual
Damn it.
camera, which I actually didn't think it would go that high, but I think it's an episode that's very entertaining. But so with that said, number 1 is still Eye of the Beholder. Number 46 is The Trouble with Templeton. It's crazy to think about that. The Fever's still. I keep forgetting the Fever's not number last place anymore.
It's close
Eventually, it
enough.
comes to all of them.
Exactly.
It
But
is
yeah, like,
close enough. I'm sure it'll be in the bottom 10 all the way to the end.
Exactly. But yeah, like I said, it's a, what do we call, higher end episode, but it's still in the end, it's probably still gonna be like closer to the middle pack of the series. So when things go, but with that said, that'll conclude season 2, episode 10 of the episode Most Unusual Camera. The next episode is another videotaped episode, which is not well beloved, but is gained a cult classic kind of style of love recently in the last 50 years or whatever. But that, of course,
the
is
Meek?
season 2. Yeah, people don't like this. There's a lot of people that didn't like this episode.
Really?
Oh, I thought that was a really popular episode.
No, it's considered like one of the lower tiered episodes, but
Really?
but yeah, season 2, episode 11, Night of the Meek, directed by Jack Smite, written by Rod Serling. Stars, of course, the famous Art Carney, John Fielder, Val Avery, and Meg Wiley. So we'll look forward to that. Hopefully, I don't want to jinx anything, but we may have a guest on that we've been trying to get back for a while now. So, but with that said, that'll do it. That'll be our take on a Most Unusual Camera. Dan, thank you so much for coming on, for putting up with our nonsense, as we do in this podcast. But it's been awesome. Want to have you back at some point in the future for maybe not as funny of an episode, but we'll try and figure out an episode to have you on. But either way, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your, I'm sure, busy day of lounging around the house, doing nothing or whatever you say you do on your vacation. But with that said, where can they find your content, your channel, all that good stuff?
Well, thank you very much for having me. It was wonderful to be here, and I was very glad to spend time with all of you, except Triv. My
Damn.
No, she's lovely too. She's lovely too. I'm going to be nice.
Yeah, bullshit.
So, so mean. So my channel is TYTD Reviews. You can find me at youtube.com/TYTD Reviews. I'm also on Twitter. And like I say, we've just had our summer special. We'll be back with a full season run on the 9th of September, when we've managed to track down the one and only Barry J. Gillis for a very special kind of text-based interview around his film Wicked World that we're going to be taking a look at. So that should be really good to crack that one open. But yep, I'm there. I'm on Twitter. Come say hi. Always love to talk to people, especially about shite films. I'm always here.
But with that said, Dan, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. And on to my normal hosts who are here every week to deal with my nonsense. Triv,
AKA the boring ones.
Triv, you have a trophy on your desk.
Yes.
Now that you've exposed your anal raccoon to the world, where can they find that anal raccoon content?
That's a fantastic link. You can find me here on YouTube at Trivial Theater. I'm also on Twitter at Trivial Theater. Just came out with the Forbidden Zone, which was inspired by Dan at TYTD Reviews. It was a request for a donation, so thank you again for that. Probably the craziest movie I have ever done in my entire life, and that says something.
You don't need to say thank you to me for that. It was spiteful.
Well, I'm trying to take it as a good thing.
You couldn't tell when he was recording?
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. You can also by the time this drops, hopefully or thereabouts, I will have a collab out on Samurai Cop 2 as well. So make sure to check out those two pieces.
And Jacob, you have a revolution starting. The Jar Rain and his revolutionaries and blinking eyes, and I was trying to play off your t-shirt. Yeah, I was trying to play off your t-shirt, but it didn't work very well. Where can they find
Jacob Anders in the Revolution?
There you go. But where can they find your content?
You can find my content on YouTube at Jacob Anders Reviews, where I do movie reviews, and I have I really don't know what you call it. It's not bi-weekly because that would be every 2 weeks. What is it called when you do it twice a week?
I
Would
think
that
just
be
twice weekly. Isn't
twice a
it?
week? Twice a weekly? Okay, I guess. I was looking for something a little bit sexier, something like
D&D?
bi-weekly.
Weekly.
Tweakly.
Tweak.
I don't like where that sounds like it's going. Twice a week, every Wednesday and every Saturday, I have a show, a movie-centric entertainment show that I put on, and Nick is usually there with me as well, and sometimes Triff, which will actually be, as soon as we're done with this, I'll be jumping into. So check that out, and check out other movie reviews. I have actually a few more movie reviews coming out this week. As of the posting of this, I'll have a few more reviews posted that than I have been having. So yay. So check that out and come by the show and come by the channel, like, subscribe, check out stuff that I have on there. And I'm on Twitter. Yeah, that's I'm not good at
definitely.
this. I need to pre-record this every week. So I can just like, hang on, let me hit that button. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the hardest working person that I know that isn't Triv and Dan.
And yourself.
I don't know how hardworking I am. But,
Oh, shush.
I'm like the hardest working person here, except for Nick, Triv, and Dan.
You're more hardworking than the anal raccoon and Jeff.
Exactly.
Jeff works real hard. He's up there blinking, watching all.
Exactly. But with that said, you can find me. But with that said, you can find me at Movie Emporium, where I have all my content. Like I said, I do sometimes host with Jacob on his show, so look out forward to that. Yeah, it's good stuff. But anyways, Twitter, Audio Boom, iTunes, all that good stuff for the audio feeds for this show. But without further ado, for myself, Dan, Triv, and Jacob, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Adios.
Take care.
Every once in a while, you have to bring this guy into the mix. So. I swear, like
the one.
when we were doing like that, we're doing one of the What the Dubs, and I came on, and she thought Jacob was on there putting all this nonsense on there, and like we almost broke Triv that night too. It was good stuff.
Yeah, because I usually get her with the no sir, I don't like it on here. So then I think Nick came on there and put that, and she like lost her shit.
That's exactly.
I was in there, but I was like, that wasn't me. Usually me.